people taking News Writing 101. I'm going over here. And you're familiar with a paradigm, and it's called the inverted pyramid, right? Feature writing has a different shape to it. It's a little bit different shape. It's like this. What shape is that?
Ice cream cone?
How did you know ice cream cone?
I eat a lot of ice cream.
You're absolutely right. You might pass this semester after all. But the problem is you have to fill it up. What flavor is it? So now, our tale of woe from the newsroom. What flavor ice cream? So here's my story. Let me paint you a picture. I'm sitting in the newsroom at the Annapolis Capitol. I'd say this is the mid-1980s. We are a PM paper. That means an afternoon paper. So I've been at work since 6:15 a.m. It is now 11:40. I'm sitting under the big clock, and I'm listening to the police scanner, which I have to do until my friend Pete gets back from the county cop shop. I cannot leave. I am ready to go to lunch. The reason I'm ready to go to lunch is I've filed 2 circuit court stories. I've stopped by district court for the arraignments. I've picked up the lawsuits. I've written up the grand jury indictments. And now I'm listening to the scanner. And I'm waiting for my best friend Pete. Well, in walks Pete. Only Pete's not walking. Pete is running. And I wonder why he's running. Because it's 11:40 a.m. We're past deadline. Pete's saying, I got something, can I get something in? I look up at the clock. I say, Pete, what do you think? It's 11:40 a.m. He says, I gotta get this in. Now, just a little word about Pete. Pete is kind of jumpy. Pete drinks 8 cups of coffee by 10 a.m. and he keeps them lined up on his desk in little styrofoam cups. 2 sugars, 1 non-dairy creamer. So that's by 10 a.m. and now it's 11:40. Pete's jumpy at this point. I gotta get this in. I said, well, what is it? He says, it's the Baskin Robbins up on West Street. It's been held up. Stop the press. He said, Lorraine, before the guy left, he made the clerk fix him an ice cream cone. Now I'm listening. What flavor? Pete takes his notebook, which, like him, is rumpled and stained with coffee. And he starts flipping through his notebook, and he's getting more and more jumpy and excited. He flips through once, twice, 3 times, and finally all the wind goes out of his sails. And he says, I didn't ask. And I said, I'm going to lunch. So the lesson in this long tale is that you have to ask. And I'm going to come back to Pete. We will not leave him at the Annapolis Evening Capitol. He will not die there. I promise. He's my best friend. But on the other hand, journalistic detail in feature writing or any other form must serve the topic. It can't be off topic. It can't just be thrown in there because you like it. So before we take a look at Exhibit B, in Pete's defense, let me say something about Ann Hull, who's a Pulitzer Prize winner. She spent 15 years at the St. Pete Times, which is one of the best written papers in America. She went on to the Washington Post, and we'll talk about some of her accolades in a few minutes. She writes on her notebooks, see, hear, smell, whatever sense she thinks she's doing now, she writes herself reminders, even at this stage of the game. So she teaches herself, she reminds herself. And she always labors under the belief that she's about to get fired. So, this is true. She has said this.